Hello, friends. I hope you're all having an amazing week so far. I have a couple of announcements before today's episode. I want to sincerely thank every single one of you that has been listening to Forbidden Knowledge News. We're about to hit our 10-year mark. Extremely grateful to still be here doing this. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for all of you listening, so thank you all. I'm now roughly 3 months away from completing my third film, Case 369, Chris and the Quantum Gate. We're planning on a pre-release to start going out in October. This film is much different than the first two documentaries I made. It's going to be a full-length 90-minute sci-fi comedy mockumentary, complete with an entire script that I wrote. It has an incredible ensemble cast that most of you already know and love. People like Brandon Thomas, Trey Hudson, Joshua Cutchin, Don Rogers, Karen Holton, Steven Stathis, Frank Castle, Joe and Jen Hodgden, Cory Hughes, and Charlie Robinson. This film follows the private investigation by Marty Maxwell, P.I., played by myself. Marty is working a missing persons case, the disappearance of Chris Matthew, also me, a podcaster and filmmaker. Before Chris's disappearance, he was dabbling in dangerous magic rituals, may have been involved with very dangerous individuals because of it. Marty is hired by Chris's wife to find him. Marty and his assistant Jimmy, also me, are diligently working to find out what happened to Chris Matthew. They follow a trail of clues, interview friends and colleagues, and a host of oddball characters to try and solve the case. Marty soon finds out that there are powerful forces behind Chris's disappearance beyond the realm of humans. We're having such a great time making this. All my films are completely self-funded by our podcast revenue and the previous films, as well as the few kind donations we do receive. In order to effectively advertise and market this film, we need your help. We are having a fundraiser. We want to be able to bring as much attention to this film as possible. It's going to bring much needed levity to our strange realm. If you'd like to help with the fundraiser, I have links in the description. Any donation of $100 or more, and you're going to get a pre-release of the film, Cory Hughes 3 book PDFs, as well as your name in the credits. Anything is greatly appreciated. Finally, if you're looking to start a podcast but don't know how or where to start, we are currently looking for 2 more podcasts for the Forbidden Knowledge Network. If you're interested, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com to get all the details. Thank you all again, and enjoy this episode.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is LeCaptain. I'm excited to announce after 10 years we finally have a good merch shop. We have designs going up as we speak. Use the link in the description and check that out. We've got beautiful shirts available right now. Also, watch my films. Occult Louisiana is on Tubi, Doors of Perception on Amazon Prime. I am booking guests for August. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today I want to welcome back to the show LeCaptain. He is an author, researcher, retired scientist, and owner and producer of the Paul Bunyan Lumberjack Show. Lee, welcome back. How you doing?
I am doing great. Been busy making my living, of course, performing lumberjack shows all over the world. We just got back from Australia and we went over to the island of Bermuda, been coast to coast. And this year is going to prove to be a banner year, with America celebrating 250. Just about every state fair in the country wants us.
That's awesome, man. You're killing it out there. Today we're going to discuss your new book, What is the Real Holy Grail? Which is an exploration of what you believe to be the true and factual identity of the Holy Grail. Through researching ancient symbols, Hebrew scriptures, Islam, Hinduism, and biblical legends passed down, as well as examining ancient artifacts, monuments, and historical documents, you've done a great job of putting together these possibilities, and I'm very much looking forward to learning about your findings. Before we do, it's been a while since you've been on. Remind the audience a little bit about yourself and let them know how they can find more.
Well, I have been involved with research dealing with ancient bloodlines and the ancient mystery acts that we did with you folks earlier. I've been mesmerized or whatever since I was a child on these subjects. I went to school, and for a short part of my life, I became a nuclear engineer, worked in the nuclear industry. Didn't like it because it wasn't my type of style. It kind of cramped me for what I wanted to be able to do. And so I decided to do lumberjack competitions and shows. I've been doing that all my life. In the meanwhile, I have been studying and researching uh, such things as ancient artifacts. The one I had, of course, was the axe that I received that is believed to be uh, made by the Knights Templar for the Vatican and was used as the Vatican's beheading axe uh,
Wow.
during the Crusades of the Cathars. And so that kind of catapulted me out on it. And that happened probably closer to 15 years, not 13 years. And ever since then, I have been just going full bore, trying to find answers and truths. And I do one thing and I do another. And I think I got two full-time jobs going on all the time.
Right on. What got you started down the Holy Grail rabbit hole specifically?
Well, first of all, I want to say, Chris, I'm not any brighter than any other person here on this planet. But I have a little bit of a working type of an autism with me. And I see things that need to be put into order, things that aren't right. And I start putting these puzzle pieces together. And when I do, it makes me feel like a better person. I can understand what's going on more. I'm happier.
Mm.
And so it's almost like a medicine for me, what I'm doing. And it's like somebody that uh, plays music that's their release. Well, this is my release.
Mm.
And so when I see all these pieces pulled together, then I know it's right. And what's happened in the book that I wrote, What is the Real Holy Grail? I started with a few puzzle pieces. I saw these anomalies. They just wasn't making sense to me. Then what ended up happening is I got a couple puzzle pieces here and a couple puzzle pieces there. Before you know it, I was getting more. And the more you get, the easier they fall in place to get the story. You're starting to get a path of breadcrumbs, a trail to follow. And I'm not saying what I found is 100% true. Uh, the book is written so that you discover, so that you learn how to read these symbols, so that you yourself can decide what is right or wrong. But on my path, I've also found some things that are just crazy in my thoughts, why they're even promoted, because it's all done for power and control. It's done for the money, the old age. You know, if you got the money, you can do it. If you got the power, you can do it. And that's what's happened.
So you mentioned symbols. A lot of your exploration is done through looking at ancient symbolism. You mentioned the symbol X in your talking points, that this is a very significant symbol as it relates to the Grail. What is the symbol X significant for?
Okay, when we're talking about the symbol X, you're really basically going to the creation and time of humanity, mankind. When God, uh, the ancient Sumerians, when they were here, they wrote the symbol X was the symbol for God. That's why you saw the Anunnaki with on their chest. And that's
Mm.
part of the reason why the cross also, or the X, is with the Catholic Church. And so God was basically X. X is God. How do you spell Christmas? Xmas. Okay. And how did they see it in the stars? Well, the one that shows the X across the whole world, or across our area, is Orion, the Orion Nebula. And that's why, for example, on the Pope's Bible, he'll have a star in one corner, a star in another corner, a star in another. And there you see Orion, but that actually forms the X. And what's fascinating about that is Earth would not even be what it is today if it weren't for the Orion Nebula. because I'm not going to really start naming numbers and figures because I could get them wrong because there's so much to remember in this. But let's say 1,200,000 years ago, it has the right numbers in the book. The Earth went through its celestial orbit through the solar system or a galaxy that we're in, and it went through the Orion Nebula. That is where it's believed that the water came to the Earth. And if it weren't for that water, of course, there'd be no life here on Earth itself. And so hence, that in my feeling, in my thought, could that be the place of creation of life for us once we got that water? It gave us the ability to do so. And then it came through and it started, things happened, you had that primordial goo or whatever you want to call started coming all up and things started to happen. Well, the Earth was alive. It was growing. And so that X also is the same place. Now, this is what's cool. If you were in Egypt in the king's chamber, and they had that little square chamber that points up into the sky, exactly on the small Christmas, that X, it'll shoot straight up right to the Orion Nebula. That is where the creation came from. So hence where we came from, shall we return? And that's how it's written biblically, how it is. And that's why the ancient Sumerians have the X. The ancient Egyptians are buried with the X. They all know that. And that's why that X is in there. And the reason why I believe it has the X is we knew the story. The chromosome of the female is the X, right? All right. The male is the XY. Now, you take that XY chromosome, and you probably heard of Scott Walter and all the stuff that he's doing. And he says the XY means this and that. But I believe the XY just basically stands for male, and that hooked X, because it's the same exact symbol that you see in our DNA. And so that's why the Templars, when they were writing these things, they knew the story. They put XY. It is so because it is written by them representing the male portion of the society. And that's why they're written on those tablets. So you take this X, and this is just one symbol. X is God. The ancient Sumerians put X on their chest. The ancient Egyptians had X like this. God was spelled with X. And that is all one portion of how it got started.
So how can we connect this with what is understood as the Holy Grail? You're taking us back to long before the birth of Christ with the Sumerian mythos. How can we connect this together, and what does it have to do with Christ?
Okay, well, it's about the bloodline. You've done a lot of shows, and you probably heard and researched about the Merovingian and the Carolingian bloodline, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's theories on that. Mother Mary, she had two sides of the family. You had mother's side and the father's side. So Jesus had two sides of the family. That were two different bloodlines. The house of David, house of Abraham was one side, and then there was the other side. I'm trying to figure out the names of those that were in it. But those are the grandparents. So everybody on this earth has two bloodlines. It goes all the way back to the time of Adam and Eve. Now, how we got that is, which I find fascinating in the research, is they came to ancient Sumer. And you can take that Zechariah Stitchin story that they were digging for gold to, because their planet had a pulsating star and there was radiation that was destroying it, and they needed the gold. And the story goes is, well, they had this Neanderthal that were on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So they genetically modified it. And when they genetically modified the DNA, at that particular time, that is when we became human. They put the X particle into our genetics the proper way with the coding on it. And that was the X and the XY. And a lot of people say, okay, well, that's the junk DNA. Well, that junk DNA is our coding. That is the stuff that's given to us. And so when we were created, that DNA then pushed all the way through. Now, a lot of people, you know, and I may get this wrong, but let's say fundamental Baptists and some believe that humans were created here on this earth only 5,000 to 10,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That could be right, as well as the other. Because what happens is it wasn't done. It said, go forth and multiply till 5,000 or 10,000 years ago when the last Neanderthal was finally bred out. Because everybody here on Earth has 3 to 5% Neanderthal DNA, which is our immune system. And so could that have been, when they're saying it is finished, how that came about? When the breeding was finished. So yes, they're right. And yes, you know, the other people are right too. Everybody has a portion of what's being right in this.
Our ancient past is extremely difficult to unpack and navigate. It's difficult to know what happened 10 years ago, much less our biblical or ancient past. When you say the Anunnaki, are these humanoids or some kind of non-human extraterrestrials? What do you consider the Anunnaki to be?
Well, in a way, I guess they're us. This is my thought, but they're some people call it, they think they're part of the Nephilim. Okay. Some say that, for example, Thor, he was an Anunnaki. All right. So if you look at Thor, he was in the Middle East. Well, then how the heck did he get over in Norway? Talking about the same thing with the Vikings. All this information traveled from one post to the other, and it was back and forth. Now they're finding people that lived in the United States well before they thought, 10 to 15,000 years ago now. And could that have came over with the Phoenicians on the reed boats? Or all of this stuff could have happened, and it was just getting sprinkled here and sprinkled there, and they knew within a matter of time it was going to happen. And who are we to say? I can't say that I know how God created us. I don't think any biblical person or Christian or whatever faith they are could say this is how God really designed us, because I think we are so small yet in our knowledge that we have, because we're just infants, don't even understand what's going on. But if they came and they created us that way, that was the seed that dropped from the oak tree. Let's say it was the Pleiadians that dropped their seed, and somebody else dropped their seed. How else are these seeds going to be dropped from different worlds, different planets, different galaxies? I don't know of any other way that it can actually be done to do it that way. When you get smart enough and you can be traveling and you become an explorer, then you visit these planets and then you do different these things, and you say, you know, that's a pretty good thing. Let's have some children of our own and drop the seed. That's the way God intended it. Is it that way? I don't know. But the Bible, once again, it said he created the heavens and the earth. So that means there's more out there.
So you say the Grail is representative of bloodlines that are tied to Christ.
That are tied not only to Christ, but to the back of the beginning of the time. We are of who their grandparents are. He had grandparents on one side. He could have been born immaculately. That could have happened. I'm not saying it didn't. But he did have a grandfather and a grandmother from two different sides because his parents did. And that's where you get the Merovingian and Carolingian bloodline. Why do you think the Capetian dynasty, they believe that they're of the royal lineage and the royal bloodline? So is the Hebrew faith. All of the Egyptians. There's more that can be written about it. And one of the most important things is a symbol that nobody even really, that I found, that had really put this together, is a netter. Have you found that information yet? That you found that what it is?
No. What is this?
This is so important.
Okay.
And for viewers out there listening to this, it's really cool. Netter in ancient Egyptian means holy blood. Netter in ancient Sumerian means holy blood and almost like holy grail. The netter is symbolized with an axe. Okay, God's had another nickname. He was called the old battle axe. Now, if you are, which nobody really has discovered this stuff, I found this because I can see this, and I've talked to some very well Egyptologists, and they believe that I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
The very first kings of Egypt, they believed that they are of the direct bloodline of God. You look in their tombs, they may have one netter, first generation. The next one, 2 netters, 3 netters, 4 netters. But you say, okay, that's an anomaly. That started over in Egypt. No. If you go to Stonehenge in England, the Stonehenge has all these axes cut in, and you count every single axe. It takes you to the exact time that Stonehenge was created. Every single generation, there's one axe that's doing the same thing. And this happens over and over and over again. In the book of Gilgamesh, the stone from Lucifer's crown fell from the heavens, landed at his doorstep, and there laid the netter that cracked open to go and cut the cedars. And you see, now I'm paraphrasing that. I might not get it exact. So I know your viewers out there, I just say I'm not perfect. But what it is basically is the netter is a symbol of God. And what is Neteru? Is ancient Samaria, where the creation or the location of the ancient Sumerians were, and the Anunnaki in And so all of this stuff is about the bloodline, where the location, how it is, and it's been told to us. One of the biggest problems that we've had as a society, and I'm not talking now, I'm talking from now all the way back, let's say 400 years, the missions went out. We're going to teach you to read. We're going to teach you to write. And you are going to be able to provide for your family like you never did before. Well, what they didn't realize is they were already reading. They were reading the ancient symbols. They were understanding these symbols. When all this stuff got taken away, nobody knew how to read the symbols except the churches or the secret societies.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the power came, and that's when the control. Because if you knew where you came from and how you were created in an earth, the churches and the faiths don't have the power over you as much. You have a choice where you want to learn, where you want to go, and they don't hold you hostage anymore. And that's the importance of it.
Do you think Jesus had a child and a secret bloodline?
No, absolutely not. And I know people say Mary Magdalene and all that had happened. No, he did not. Here's a perfect way to show I can kind of give a misnomer on it. I'm going to ask you a question. I know you're the host, but the best way to learn and teach and follow is asking questions.
Yeah.
What do you think the Holy Grail is in your personal thing? Is it a cup?
That is what I was taught my entire life, going to Catholic church and Catholic school, growing up Catholic. We were all taught that it was an actual cup. I questioned that my entire life. I couldn't honestly tell you what it is. That is what we were taught and programmed that it was.
Okay. Up to the 15th century, from the 15th century back, there was never any mention of a cup.
Mm-hmm.
That started in the 15th century. The Catholic Church does not endorse, and listen, this is really cool, and it's mind-blowing. There are different grails and holy cup grails across many basilicas across the world. Oh, we got the grail. Oh, the grail is here. Oh, this is it. But you know what? The Catholic Church doesn't endorse a single one of them. yet they consider them to be relics in their church. Reason why they consider it to be relics is because they want people to come to the church. There was never really a Grail or cup at that period of time. That is a hoax that started in the 15th century. And you can find that out. It's pretty easy to find that information out. But nobody bothers to take the time and look at it.
Interesting.
What the Grail does, though, Sang Grail, that represents holy blood. Sang Grail, holy blood. And the same thing with Netter, holy blood, axe, and it all, it's the dominoes, it's the bread trail crumbs that you follow. And once you start learning these symbols, you can see a path that'll take Goldilocks all the way home.
In your talking points, you mentioned lapis excellus. What is this?
Lapis excellus, the Holy Grail.
Okay.
It's the stone also that fell from Lucifer's crown. It's the story and the truth of humanity. Lapis excellus, if you look it up in the Catholic Church, it basically means Holy Grail, holy blood, or the stone of the story. See, as it goes, as Lucifer and Michael had this great big battle in the heavens. And when they're fighting this battle, from his crown falls the stone, and it falls to the earth. Now, let's say it fell at Gilgamesh's doorstep. Okay, I'm just building a story here with it. There's the netter that hit the earth. It's metaphorically talking again, the axe, the truth. See, the old battle axe, the symbol for God, and if you take the Baptist sermon, the battle axe sermon, the axe is to cut to the truth and whole truth. That's what it represents. And so when that netter comes here to the earth and it falls, all of that happens. And so basically, the whole story is told to us and it's lost again.
You mentioned also the location and creation of heaven. How is this connected with the Grail?
Plain and simple. As the earth moved through the Orion Nebula, it gathered the water. That created life here on earth. And if it weren't for that, it wouldn't happen. So hence, that's where is that creation of humanity came from, basically, is the ooze and the ability to grow life came from that location. Now we talk about Aquarius, the water, Pisces, the fish, all of this in the astrological charts, okay? Astronomy charts. It comes through, and when it goes through there, now we have the building blocks to create life. And then it started. And then as our planet grew, that eventually we grew into humans and things evolved, and that's how it came about.
Why do you think this information is so suppressed and no one has made these connections yet?
All right. Let's say you have this big church especially back in the day. We're going to go, let's say, 15th century, 16th century. You want money. And a lot of these popes, and I'm Catholic, a lot of these popes weren't very good at all. There were some really bad ones that were out there. But then there are, of course, some really good ones. They were appointed. Many of them were making all kinds of money. Many of them were not really living a good Christian life. But they wanted the control. And if they had that control, they're almost like a god themselves. The same thing with the ancient Egyptians. They were the same way. And so if you know the story, I am sure, without a doubt, that the Knights Templar knew the story of the Holy Grail. The Catholic Church knows the story of the Holy Grail. But it's being suppressed because if the people really know what this story is, Then they choose where to go and learn and practice their faith. The church has no more power over them. It's gone. But the glorious thing about it is it shows that we're all one family coming from one thing. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, if you're Indian, it doesn't matter what ethnic group you are. All it matters is we are of the same origin and how we came creation. We're all brothers and sisters. And I think if the rest of the world finds that out, they know it. Let's say we all know what's going on over in the war right now in Iran. And it's hatred because of faiths. And I'm not saying just Iran, it's everywhere that's going on, different things. But if we all knew that we were all brothers and sisters, would we still harness that same hatred? I don't think so.
What do you think the true power is behind using symbols for language instead of written language? And do you think that they stopped using symbolism in order to gain power and prevent everyone else from having that same power and ability?
Well, they took their history away from the people is what they did. But for example, I'm going to take one of the most simple symbols of all, a circle. What does a circle mean? It means eternity. It means female. It means the moon. It means silver. And a lot of other meanings go with it. That symbol can be used multiple different ways. So it has to be working in the context with the other symbols itself. It's just not a symbol by itself. Mm-hmm. If you take a circle with the dot, that's the Son of God, gold, Ra, eternal life. So you have to put them in context. You put a circle with a dot and a circle with just a plain circle, that's male and female. Here's something that's really interesting. You are now in Washington, D.C. at the Washington Monument. But there's other people that are at the Vatican with the obelisk standing there. Oh, wait a minute, there's more people that are over in Egypt. And all these obelisks, the nickname for it was Needle of Cleopatra. It stands straight up, right? It's a needle, it's a point. That was the name. We didn't give it that name. That was the nickname it was given thousands of years ago. It sits on top of an X. There's your genetics. It sits on a circle that goes around the X. Another circle with a dot. That's male and female sitting on the X gene, showing the genetic modification as a needle.
You mentioned the Templars earlier. Do you think secret societies and magical orders like that, or Rosicrucians, understand what you're discussing tonight?
Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The president of the Rosicrucian Society is from France. I had an opportunity about 8 years ago or so. I met with him in San Diego. And I taught him how to read the main symbol that they have, the Rosicrucian seal. He didn't even know how to read it. When he got done after I taught him how to read it, he was blown away. He says, "How do you know this information?" I says, I understand it. I know it. I've learned to read it. I'm self-taught, and there's nobody that could teach this anymore. I had to learn it. It's almost like cracking some type of a code to understand it. But it's like I said, it's the little pieces of puzzles that go together, and more that you get together, the more you understand them and how they come about and start telling the story. Now, I'm going to pull something up here so I can work with you on something a little bit here, okay? In one of the symbols, I don't know if you have it. Do you have the Rosicrucian seal that I sent to you? The Great Seal?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can find that real quick on here. Now, I explain this in the book. You look at the sun on the left. Okay. That stands for male, right? I told you.
Right.
There's that. And then you have the circle, female, that stands for female. Now look at the symbols right next to it. There's the male symbol and there's the female symbol. You see that?
Yeah.
They're pouring the essence of creation of the blood into the cup.
Let's see.
So now what they're doing is they're doing the mixing of the bloodline, the DNA. Now, who's that symbol that's underneath it? You see the Mercury symbol?
Mm-hmm.
That Mercury symbol is a symbol for the Anunnaki. It's a very basic symbol. It's an undeniable symbol for the Anunnaki. But what it's also a symbol for is Mercury. 200 years ago, people were dying because they were taking mercury. Why? Because the myth had it, it was the elixir of life. You see where it's going here.
Mm.
Now, you have the alpha and the omega symbols. You have the two bloodlines in the circle, the Merovingian and the Carolingian bloodlines that are there. And you have the star that's on the bottom, and the hands as above as below, the heavens and the earth. All of this symbol is showing how the creation of humanity came about here on earth. And you see that little crucible with the cross?
Yeah.
That is the symbol of the story that has been presented around the world. So the story that you see there is the story of the Holy Grail, the creation of humanity here on earth. Nobody knows how to read it. It was crazy.
How do you think this would affect mainstream theology and religious systems? Do you think that these institutions may try to suppress this information?
I can tell you this. My book is endorsed by 2 Catholic priests.
Oh, wow.
And they do not deny any of this. Do you know who one of the top astronomers around the world is? It's the Catholic Church. And you know who does the astronomy? The Jesuits. And the Jesuits are have attachment to the Knights Templar. They are the astronomers. The story is told. They all know what the story is. So they're out there looking for life. They've been looking for life. Why do you think they said astrology's bad? Yeah, in many cases, astrology might be bad because a lot of people don't do it right or don't interpret correctly. But the story of astrology is the procession of the stars that go through the heavens that tell us how we are created here on earth. Hence, my point is, if you go to Egypt, in Giza on the plateau, that's a star map. We all know it's a star map. And it shows the procession of the stars along with Job the lion that's there. And Job the lion and Draco, the dragon, represents the royal bloodline. Okay? The bloodline that lives forever, that's there on the plateau. And it shows us how it came about. And then one of the reasons I understood this is because that axe that I have, I was able to interpret that story. Well, now you take that same story and let's say you go again to England, as I mentioned before, Stonehenge. When the sun goes through the fall equinox, they think, oh, that's time to pick the crops. It's not time to pick the crops. Because exactly at midnight at the fall equinox, you look above your head at midnight. It's the Pleiades, the constellation, one of the first constellations that blew out. Mm-hmm. Could that be the first form of life, the Pleiades? Then it's followed by Taurus the bull, the bull's eye, Ra, Aldebaran, that pulsating star. That I believe is Aldebaran is where the planet that the Anunnaki actually came from is there, because it was pulsating and it has everything that's written about the story. It's just that's the location. And we knew that. Then the next thing in the continent, every one of these are at a different time and a different ley line. As the sun goes through that, you look at midnight directly above your head and you'll see it. And it goes all the way through. Christ dies. He came back here on earth for 40 days. And then he ascends exactly at midnight. On that next ley line, you look above the head, and you know what you got? You got Draco, the dragon bloodline, that's going through the stars, that lives forever. So the story, the astrology story, was written in the heavens like they said it was, and we all understood it. That story was given to us, so we understood it. It's been lost. So it's all over the earth, but nobody knows how to read it.
Now, were you telling me that your family bloodline may also be connected to some of this?
Yeah, you remember that. This is kind of cool. My last name is LeCaptain. There was a guy out there by the name of Hugh Capet. His nickname was Capitine. Our name means to head, to lead, to be head, to be in charge. You get the word captain, it's all from there, but cap and capitanus is also ancient Greek. You know, it comes through. His great-granddaughter, her nickname was Capitine. Well, I'm doing research and I found out I'm able to go back now to the 14th century in Liege, Belgium, the Bolin Castle. And there was a guy by the name of Hubier of Bolin. And he had a son called Piet, P-I-E-T. So anyways, Piet, P-I-E-T, he was Piet of Bolin. Both of them were born in the castle. They were both lords. Okay. So then what ended up happening is there was the Burgundy War, 1465. They had to be in charge to save the castle. Hubier then became Hubier of Bolin dit, D-I-T, LeCaptain, giving us the surname. His son was Piet, P-I-E-T, dit, LeCaptain, giving him surname. He got injured, but they came by and they did that. And so he went from Liege to the Brabant region. And when he went there, the bloodline followed, and they became very powerful people in that area. I found the dowries and all this other information. The name was spelled L-E small C-A-P-I-T-A-I-N-N-E. Now, there's a reason for that, because they did not want them to think it was their job, it was their surname. So they came over here to the United States of America. President Lincoln himself signed the order. This was in 1865. When they came over in 1865, the ship mast broke. Some think it was sabotage. They get over here, or they went back to England. Now, Lincoln signed it. He gave them 320 acres of land on the Door County Peninsula. That's a lot of land. Mm. But they couldn't make it that year, so they had to go back, fix the mast. They came back the next year, and they came on a ship called the Lace de Mon, which is a military ship. And it was a very powerful Greek warrior ship, is what it was in the past. So when they came over, they came through Canada, went up through the pass all the way up into Wisconsin. They never stopped. Then on there, the paperwork was signed by Johnson. And in their signatures, the land was given to them, but they had to denounce their royal bloodline in order to get that to be there. But that area on the Door County Peninsula, it reads like who's who in the Capetian dynasty. You have Marie de Arachat, my grandmother, Valois, Martin, Francois, Cope, Adelaide, Mazart, all these names. And they started a church there. The church they started was St. John the Baptist. the bloodline again. And the first priest that was there was a Jesuit priest, represented by the Cross of Lorraine. The Cross of Lorraine, again, is a very important symbol because the small bar means female on top, and the small bar means male, and it's always in red with a pointed line is the way it's supposed to be. That's why France had it. And that's why France still has it. That's why Joan of Arc had it. All of them had this. That's why when the papacy moved the Vatican to France for 174 years, one lifetime of a man, and then moved back, because it was about the bloodline again, to cleanse it. And that's
You
why
think
those
these
symbols are there.
bloodlines still have great power in our reality? They have influence at all?
The reason why it creates influence is because people don't have the knowledge of who they are. It shows that nobody's better than anybody else. We're all the same. That's the cool thing about it. I could tell you this. If it's not the bloodline, I don't know what it would be. And when you look at the book and you go in and you read it yourself and you see those symbols, I felt so strongly. I'm not telling anybody what it is. I'm teaching them to read the symbols. And when they look and they read their own symbols, I want them to decide for themselves. Because I don't have a right to tell anybody, this is the truth. This is the gospel. I'm not God. But what I do know is I can say, this is how I read it. This is how I interpret it. This is the information that I got, and I believe it to be true.
What I was asking is, do you think the lineage of this actual bloodline, that the people from it are aware of what's behind it and the things that we're discussing tonight?
Yes, absolutely. That's why they don't let people get into it. That's why it's so tight. That's what's happening. And the world's going to change anyway. We can't stop it. With AI, all this information eventually is going to pop out. It's going to have to pop out. The only reason it won't pop out is they're not going to be allowed to write it in. And so that's the big problem.
So essentially, anytime we look back at ancient Egyptian, Babylonian, Sumerian history, and we see an X or an axe, that may be referring to God.
That's right. Or the netter, the stone. If you are Islamic, okay, you are in Mecca. You go counterclockwise, like bringing back time. And what's in the middle of that there? A jade stone. They rub the stone, they kiss the stone. That is the truth. And it all comes together as one story. It's just different interpretations.
We got a few minutes left. Is there anything else that we didn't cover as it relates to this story? Anything else that you'd like to leave the audience with for the last few minutes?
Well, what I'd like to leave the audience is to have an open-minded look. I'm not going to start naming names. It's in the book itself. But this has not just happened by me. I've had University of South Florida. I've had the University of New Mexico, Gallup. I've had University of Central Florida, professors. I've had a real Knights Templar, people from the Vatican, priests, people in black op operations, people in archaeoastronomy. There are so many, and people that are specialized in ancient bloodlines. The information that I have gathered, I've worked with all these people to come together with this story itself. And that's the fascinating part of it.
And what are your future plans for anything else with this information? I know you have the book. Tell us about when that'll be available as well.
Well, thank you very much for that, Chris. I appreciate that. The book is expected to come out late of August, the first part of September. Maybe you can throw up my new web pages for
Of course.
the TikTok and the YouTube channel and my Facebook page. It's in those cases, sometimes I just call it the real Holy Grail instead of the actual book title. Some are what is the real Holy Grail? And the reason behind it, to be honest with you, is just the real Holy Grail sometimes in certain places, like in Facebook, will pick up a lot easier than what is the real Holy Grail, through the search engine. So I'm putting those words in so it can pop up easier. I want people to realize that we're all here together. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all one family. And we have the ability, what's upside down now was upside right before. What's wrong is right. What's right is wrong. The world is in all kind of a turmoil. Maybe the time is now for us to understand our true origins. And if we understand our true origins, I think that'll bring love to everybody. I really do.
Lee, thank you so much. I will have all your links easily accessible in the description. Before I let you go, also let the audience know about how they can attend the Lumberjack Show.
We are going all over. We're going to be at the Iowa State Fair in Des Moines. We are going to be at the New York State Fair in Syracuse, the Kentucky State Fair. We are also going to be at the Tennessee State Fair, the Kansas State Fair, the Arkansas State Fair, the Illinois State Fair, and a lot of other places from coast to coast. If you go to the Paul Bunyan Lumberjack Show fan page, you can follow and post where we're going to be at and the different locations we're going to be at.
Excellent, Lee. Thank you so much. We'll be talking again in the future. Until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We'll talk again tomorrow. We'll see y'all then. Watch Doors of Perception, now on Amazon Prime. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Maybe the fake alien invasion? Now is the time to prepare yourself and your family for any event. Check out Prep Starts Now. Their mission is to provide high-quality preparedness products that empower individuals and families to be ready for any situation. They're committed to delivering reliable, trusted gear to ensure your safety, security, and peace of mind in times of need. Their product selection is carefully curated to provide you with the essential gear you need to stay prepared. From emergency kits to tactical tools, every item is chosen for its reliability and practicality. Prep Starts Now understands the importance of family, and their goal is to equip you with everything you need to build a solid plan for your family's preparedness. In today's ever-changing world, being prepared is more important than ever, and Prep Starts Now is here to help you and your family stay ready with quality products and practical guidance. Use the link in the description and get 15% off your order. We live in an incredible age of information. More and more, we're discovering that we've been lied to and misled about much of our human history. Cory Hughes is providing profound revelations about World War I, World War II, the JFK assassination, Martin Luther King's assassination, and much, much more on his new Substack, Bloody History. Subscribe now for as little as $5 monthly. Just click that link right in the description to get started now and learn about our true history. Hello, friends. If you're looking to start your therapeutic microdosing journey, but don't know where to start, especially when looking for the highest quality ingredients, including nootropics, and what you'd expect from a true microdose capsule, check out our friends at Brainsupreme. They offer the absolute highest quality ingredients so you can start your microdosing journey, knowing that you're getting top-notch ingredients. To find out more, visit their website using that link right in the description and you can get 15% off your entire order. Hello friends, I am so excited to tell you about Independent Media Token. Independent Media Token is a brand new way to show your support for independent media without having to donate a dime. Independent Media Token is a cryptocurrency on the Solana blockchain designed to generate funds to promote and foster the growth of independent content creators, allowing them to engage in their art without having to worry about being demonetized. Through a network of media partners, of which you yourself can become a part of, Independent Media Token's goal is to ensure the powers that be can never cut off all of our areas of funding and censor the only free voices left in the world. Join the movement today. You can pick up Independent Media Token using Phantom Wallet or the Solana wallet of your choice, where you can easily swap your Solana for IMT. Grab some IMT today and remember to always know your team. To learn more, visit independentmediatoken.com or use the link right in the description. Hello friends, are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Have you tried intermittent fasting, low carb or ketogenic diets, cutting calories and exercising more with no success? Book a free intro call with my friend Christian Yordanov to see how he can help you. He is a health author and functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. He was on the show recently to discuss his latest book on longevity, How to Actually Live Longer, Volume 1. He understands that for many people, excess weight gain and weight loss resistance is much more complex than calories in, calories out. You may be having a hard time shedding the pounds because of hormonal and metabolic imbalances that won't respond to simply eating less and moving more. In our modern environment full of obesogenic chemicals and endocrine disruptors, xenoestrogens, and persistent organic pollutants, as well as unprecedented levels of stress, a more sophisticated approach is needed to help people like yourself achieve long-lasting results. Christian's going to help you lose weight in a safe, sustainable, and stress-free manner. He doesn't use severe calorie restriction, low-carb or ketogenic diets, intermittent or water fasting, or intense exercise regimens with his clients. Instead, his focus is on improving diet quality, addressing hormonal and metabolic imbalances, reducing stress, and helping you build the habits and lifestyle that will allow you to achieve your body composition goals and transform your health. In addition, he's going to help you boost your detoxification system, because this is critical to get right before you start losing a significant amount of weight. Christian will help you get healthy to lose weight. That is the right way to do it. This is not a quick fix, but a comprehensive strategy that'll help you achieve your desired body composition in a safe, free, and stress-free manner. If you are done with the fat diets and intermittent starvation and are ready for real solutions, the support you need is available. Click that link in the description to learn more and book your free call with Christian to see how he can help you. Make sure you mention FKN when booking, and he will add extra free consultation sessions to your package.